So they're just about to start on table one. We'll watch both of these matches for a moment because this one may well be about to finish. Ko Ping Han has this 9 for the match. I think we're just going to stay long enough to see if he pots it before we go to watch his brother in action.
Yeah, a little thin one. Big favourite to pot the ball, of course.
So Paul McCarthy might have been asking a lot for him to win that match, but he certainly had more than enough chances to make much more of a contest of it. Could have got back to 3-2, but having lost that, he then lost the next 4 as well, and it finishes 8-1. Phil Yates and Jeremy Jones will be with you in just a few seconds to talk you through the last match of the day on the main table.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're here for what will be the last match here on table one in day 2 of the Hanoi Open. It's Ko Ping Chung versus Phung Van Quy. Ko Ping Chung's name speaks for itself, and another player from Vietnam. They brought so many. Ko Ping Chung, a reigning U.S. Open champion 2023. What a performance it was just a couple weeks ago. Not even a couple weeks ago. Of course, now I'm joined by the best in the business, Phil Yates.
Very kind. Thank you, Jeremy. I think there's a case to be said that right now, even though he suffered a defeat here, Ko Ping Chung is the best in his business. He's 5th in the World Nineball Tour rankings. Was 4th, but he was leapfrogged by Fedor Gorsht through Gorsht's winning the Perry Open.
Yeah, and looking to redeem himself off that loss, and kind of feel like the way he's playing, he really probably didn't do a whole lot wrong. Of course, probably a mistake or two, but he just doesn't make many usually, and just kind of got steamrolled by a young Filipino player earlier.
Yeah, now comes the recovery. He has to win 3 matches on the one-loss side in order to make the last 64.
You never know. He wasn't long ago, and he'll remember it. He lost his 2nd match in that U.S. Open against Corey Deuel before he went on a monstrous run, winning all kinds of matches, a few from behind, a few easy, and a few close ones. So he put what a performance of a lifetime there the last couple matches. Reminder, this is a race to 8. This is the one-loss side, so we'll go back to a race to 9 on both the losers qualification and of course the winners qualification as well.
Just the kind of start we expected. I don't imagine that this will be all that slow. It has all the hallmarks of a comfortable victory for Ko Ping Chung. A massive gulf in experience between these two. Phung Van Quy, he lost his first match 9-2 against Marvin Assis from the Philippines. Then he received a walkover So he's only won 2 racks in the tournament. That said, though, Chung came into this match exactly the same. He had a walkover in the first round, then lost 9-2 earlier on today to Bernie Regalario. I can tell you Phung is from Bar V, which is an area in Hanoi itself, although it's in the rural part of this region. And if Ko gets on a roll, Phung will be out in the sticks in a pool sense. So all 3 Ko brothers still involved in the tournament. I think it would be an exaggeration to say that Chung is hanging by a thread. That's not the case. But he's got no safety net now. He has to win matches.
Yeah, and speaking of matches, we have some others going on in the same situation. Another good one, Elliot Sanderson, just teeing it off with Jandol Mazong of the Philippines. Didn't expect that miss there on the kiss shot. Pretty routine one.
That's one of the wonderful things about these major world ranking events on the World Nineball Tour. They pit the game's superstars against aspiring players who love to rub shoulders with the giants.
Yeah, and to tell you anything about how difficult these tables are, if you just took a glance, you might not see that 8-ball that's hanging in the lower right-hand corner, and how deep is that shelf? That's what makes them so tough, or part of the reason anyways.
I'm glad you alerted me to that, Jeremy. I might have missed that.
Yeah, I mean, it's
in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely. If we weren't playing with the shark gray felt, you may not notice it even, or maybe easier to not notice it. There's safety here on the side rail.
Always like to see that from one of the game's top players, not just in pool but also in snooker, when they're facing someone who they believe they should beat, but still have respect in terms of playing the correct shots.
Yeah, and it's just a mentality, really not wavering and understanding how you want to play to win the event, and that's what he's here to do, that being Chung. Maybe you can help me. I'm really interested in this match with Ralph Sukea, trying to pay attention to the veteran. Of course, me being a veteran and maybe a little jealous he's out there playing and I'm not, but I know he was in a tight one.
It really is tight.
Nice hit there. Trying to get some separation.
Well, he's just come through. Suko has beaten Lee Din Min of Vietnam 8-5, but it was
5-5.
a workout, yeah.
That's whenever I saw it, and I didn't know his opponent really, so. These are the shots he's really gotten better at. The long ball. He really showed us at the US Open with several of them, and when he did that, he really put some racks behind it as well. I'll tell you another thing, watch out for the youngster Ko Ping Han. He's really improved. I ain't got to watch him play in a while. Of course, it seems like we're always playing or watching his brothers, but watched him at the Perry and talked about him before. It seemed like he was still having some growing pains. He's a lot taller than his brothers, and when when I first started seeing him play, it looked like he was still trying to find the rhythm, and I think he's certainly found it. And he's really, really coming along.
Here's the 8 ball, any contact with that and it's bound to drop in.
Boy, just imagine, you know, how young as a whole the players are, and the great players these days. And well, this game's got a bright future, I'll tell you. And we got the right kind as well. Not only young, but super talented, a breath of fresh air. They really don't take matches personal, even though they're trying to beat each other's brains in.
Yes, and Phung Chung, I was watching him today. He's putting in hours on the practice table, not resting on his laurels after winning in Atlantic City. He's had a wonderful year, actually. He won a tournament in the Philippines, the Sharks International Nineball Open, which carried ranking points for the World Nineball Tour. He's a former Asian Nineball champion in 2019. He won the US Open 8 ball in 2014. And his career really started internationally when he won the World Nineball Junior Championship a decade ago. What was remarkable for me about Phung Chung was the way he dominated in the latter stages. He won the final 4 racks against Maximilian Lechner in the quarter-final. Then the 11-0 semi-final whitewash of Aloysius Schaap we've talked about. So he reached the final by winning 15 consecutive racks. Then, against Fedor Gorst, he was trailing 6-3, and he won 10 consecutive racks in the final to capture the biggest title of his career. The biggest title there is.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is a big part of it. He's really improved on the break shot as well. He went, I don't know how many in a row we were commenting on it, but it's been a couple weeks, but 21 in a row, I think it was, something like that. He made that one in the side. Of course, you don't always have to come away with a shot, and he didn't always come away with a shot, but more often than not, he outwitted his opponent or just outplayed him. Now he's going to set up for the jump shot. Maybe getting a look at his opponent with the last jump shot he attempted. He's going to set the 9 up for what may be a 4-9 combination later in the rack. So big jump shot for Phung right here. I think he should take it. Why not?
I think it's all about enjoying yourself in this kind of situation.
And that 9 ball's moved. The 2 does play. It looks like it plays anyways. By his mannerisms, I think it does go. Pretty good effort.
Just hits the ball so sweetly. One thing I always think about, when he came back after the COVID-19 interruption, he played with his brother in the World Cup for Chinese Taipei, and he was all over the place, all at sea. Now, understandably so, because he'd not been playing competitive pool. And from there to here, what a journey.
Well, I thought it was the turning point, and maybe in his career, really, whether he took it personal because his brother really carried him, I think, to the semifinal, was it, that year? And you know, I don't know exactly what clicked, but he's really, really struggled, but he's worked on his stroke. He's always had a beautiful stroke, but it's gotten even better. And, you know, just a little belief and then doing it a few times makes all the difference in the world. He's got a great support system, obviously, and you know, all those little things add up with any player, but it adds up maybe even more so with the talented ones, I think. The ones that can really be a player for the ages. Playing pretty fast here. You know, considering he's not a slow player by any means, but he's getting on with it. All right, just wants to avoid the 8 as he comes up table. Always amazes me with the players how friendly they look. But when they get down on the ball, they look pretty fierce. Eyes seem to change in every player in that regard.
Shelling peas. So, quickly, as Jeremy said, swift around the table. Ko Ping Chung leads Phung Van Quy by 3 racks to 0. By the way, if he wins, we might be saying when he wins, he will play in the next round either Mode Kathiari from Brunei or Win Duc Day from Vietnam. They're still to start. They're scheduled to begin on table 8 shortly. So what about the other scores? It's now exclusively losers round 2. No crossover. Plenty of matches out there. Go Chin, who came very close to beating Imran Majid earlier on. He's won each with Win Van Hun. David Barler, 2-1 down to Kim Su Garmak. Rafael Dabrio, 1-0 up on Ngo Xuan Tuang. Lee Van Quen, 3-0 up on Win Van Duc. The shouter, Elliot Sanderson, silenced at the moment. He's 2-1 down to a very good Filipino, Jundil Mazon. And I'll tell you about the rest of the scores after this next rack.
Yeah, and I think the last one you mentioned is probably the match of the round between Sanderson and Jundil.
Also involved in this round is the Singaporean Darren Young, who came within a whisker of beating Albin Aushin yesterday. I was watching that match in the decider. He didn't really get a great chance, but in the rack before that, he missed a 7-ball that wasn't simple. You couldn't call it simple under those pressurised circumstances, but it was a ball I thought he would pot, and I think Albin Aushin thought he would pot it also.
Yeah, it's a weird time for Albin. It seems like he's just not losing a lot of those matches as a favorite. He's lost a few this year, but he's had a lot of close ones in matches where you would figure he's a big favorite. A lot of those 9-8s and 9-7s and so on. Hadn't been the year he would want to have, but there's still some big events left for him. So we'll see how the 2-time world champion gets on. Tip did sound a little funny there, like maybe a hair of a miscue. Very difficult rack here, the 2-5-6 you can see. I don't know if the 1 plays the 3-7. Once we get a different look here in a moment, it's tangled up on the bottom part of the table. Not sure what the shot is here, really. I mean, you could play a kiss shot to make the 8, but it's a low percentage and really not much future to run the rack. So you would think it. Oh, the 1 did go. Nice stroke there, actually. Very well struck. Probably was trying to come 2 rails into the 6 to try and open the 2. Now here you kick behind the 2 ball with a high English, kind of like that kick and stick we always talk about. Knocking it away, cue ball stays. You get a snooker behind the 6 or maybe even the 5. And maybe the bank goes if he feels good. He's looking behind it now, so I think that's definitely a good shot. Don't have to hit this very hard either to stick the ball and remove the 2. You don't want to draw it now. You can do it with draw, but draw works against you, and you have to hit it much harder. I'll tell you what, a few upsets by some of the Vietnamese players, and a few very close ones as well that were close to upsets, I think has got the crowd engaged here. You could hear some of the moans after that last shot. I could certainly see some spectators around the table.
Yeah, 4 Vietnamese players are through to winners qualification, and there's a whole horde of Vietnamese players involved in this round, losers round 2. So I think in the last 64, we can certainly expect some representation.
You would think, and you never know with 9-ball pool. Of course, some of them will knock each other out on the one-loss side. That's just inevitable. Looking to try and kick this one in. Should have a little speed on it. I don't know if Chung can come back behind the 7 with the cue ball as he moves the 2 up the rail a little bit. Looks very doable. Looks like he might just try and use the 9. I thought he could easily get it back behind the 7 now. Nice shot. What you mentioned earlier, that's how you become a champion and you win tournaments, is you don't take people for granted, players for granted. You don't change how you play or take shots off. You got to stick to, improving every chance you can. All right, I like the soft kick here. Keep the accuracy. Yeah, that's the problem with a little firmer. Plus, you're probably not going to create a whole lot. You're just trying to survive for another shot.
And by removing the 5 there, he's completely liberated the 2 with ball in hand. So from here, 4-0 could be on the horizon.
And as it should be, what he's looking at here, not only from the 2 to the 3, really what's the thought from the 3 to the 4. Once he gets into that 4-ball position, the 5's near, 6-7 on the bottom end, the 8-9, very, very playable. I think he can just come past the 6 a little bit. He is a right-hander. He could go all the way over to the rail and get a little closer to the 6 and be able to probably manipulate off that 3 ball, even if he falls a little straight. So nothing wrong with this as long as you get all the way over there. He can cheat the pocket a bit. And it's hard to fault getting close to the ball when it's easy to do that, because again, you can manipulate so much.
Even though he's on the 1-loss side, he seems to be, as you might imagine, oozing confidence. And there doesn't seem to be a thought in his head that he could possibly lose this match.
Well, he's been a busy man as well, all these players, so it's easy to, you wouldn't think so, but it's easy to still lose focus, even if as great as they are. And that may have happened in his last match, and then a very, very good, well, probably just say great young player from the Philippines took advantage.
Oh, caught that one a little thick. Maybe, I'm just making excuses on his behalf, maybe suffered a skid there, but anyway, it went in just about.
Yeah, knowing him, I think he kind of put it on him, like maybe just didn't strike the ball quite like he wanted. But he is definitely getting on with it.
4-0, and that means in this race to 8 on the loser's side, he's halfway there already. BJ Usuri just about to start on table 12 against Win Hai Dang. It's vital for BJ to go as deep in this tournament as possible, with the Mosconi Cup cut-off point after this event. Charlene Chai of Singapore, 1-1 with Chan Keng Kwan. Win, Lecoq, tie, 3-0 up on another Singaporean player, Victor Zeng. Elliot Sanderson and Jundal Mazon, 2-2. All the way from Wales. Now Wales is a snooker hotbed. He's representing them on the smaller table, on the pool table, and Marcel Price is 2-0 up on Lin Shi Kai. And Darren Young, the gentleman who pushed Albin Auschen so close, he leads Win Van Tang 2-0. One of the score, John Rebong, who's a fine player from the Philippines, 3-0 up on New Zealand's Sullivan Clark. And of course, no more chances in this round. Lose and you go home.
Yeah, Clark, boy, I tell you, he sure has improved since he started playing this World Nineball Tour. He's a steady customer. Seems like he never gets beat badly. When he does get beat, he knocks off a lot of matches, makes a lot of what I think are a little more mild upsets than some may consider. Here's another one of those long balls here. And this is real. I mean, his brother has always come with these, you know, at a high rate. I think this is one of the areas he's really improved. That one wasn't his best, but super difficult shot.
Maybe he just fooled us and played safe.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he had much angle. And I'll tell you what, you talk about when you elevate the cue, when you're on the side rail at that angle coming down, you're almost better off to be coming directly behind the cue ball off the in rail, it seems. It seems always awkward when you're on the side rail shooting kind of diagonally down the table. Really nice there. Super nice shot.
By the way, the other giant from Asia playing in this round, over on table 5 a while ago, came through unscathed, 8-4. Carlo Biardo beat Din Ngok Doi. Another very handy bank.
Yeah, really like that. Playing aggressive plus a little backdoor safety if he misses behind the pink. Pretty good stroke here from Phung. Could have used a little more out of the cue ball there. Now he's over the 8-9 with a pretty thin 5 ball, but I think he's going to swing at it. And the dedication, you know. Of course, you're around the snooker as well, but a lot of these players don't play till tomorrow, later. But they're going to stay in here and take full advantage of this time to practice as much as they can. I'm sure it's like that on the snooker side, but I would bet there's some vets that you don't find practicing as much.
You see, I think, more practice in pool tournaments than snooker.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. The amount of practice time at snooker is sometimes limited because of the amount of tables they can get in there because they're so big.
Right.
So all of the major preparation work for tournaments is done in their home club, if you like.
Right.
And it's just a half an hour here, half an hour there to tune up.
Yeah, and you know, they're going to play one match a day and then sometimes 2-3 days off in certain events. Okay, he's made a nice out so far. Can he spin this in and hold the ball? I'll tell you, this guy looks a little more capable than maybe we gave him credit. But you were going to say, Carl? I mean, Carl, you're going to say, Phil, it's been a long day. So.
Well, yeah, thanks. To be called Carl, I don't know whether to take that in the positive way. No, I remember a tournament in Deauville in France, one of the first ones I actually covered in 1989, where a future world champion then, John Parrott, played a match on the Saturday, and he didn't play again until the following Thursday.
Yeah, well, which tournament is it that takes 18 days, I think it is?
The World Championship, that takes 17.
17, yeah.
Clive Everton, the well-known snooker commentator, termed it the marathon of the mind. There, the defending champion plays traditionally on the first day, and he doesn't return again to play until at least the following Thursday.
Wow. Well, that makes more sense for the practice as well, being able to have that time and figure out which days to tune up and whatnot.
Well, I'll tell you a story about that, which is rather unorthodox after this 9-ball goes in.
And a very impressive clearance here to get on the board.
Excellent. Phung Van Quy is not going to be whitewashed. That really was a good rack. And suddenly, Chung thinks, hold on a minute, need to be careful with this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll recognize it's one thing to clear a table, but it's how you do it. And this cut on the 2 was beautiful. Nice bank on the 3, playing a smart shot behind the pink. Really good over the 8 and 9, and then finished it off with a pretty routine 7, 8, 9.
So the story about the scheduling at the Crucible, which is in Sheffield, Yorkshire, Northern England. There was a player called Quinton Han who was actually a very useful pool player.
I knew him, yeah.
And he won his first round match, wasn't scheduled to play for 5 or 6 days, and went home.
To Australia? Wow. Well, that kind of sounds like him, though, a little bit. I wouldn't have been surprised if he tried to get a flight to Mars, that guy. But I did like hanging around him, even though I don't know how to word it, but you just never knew what was going to happen when it came to Quinton Hunt. Super talented guy. He was, I think, a professional at one point, or semi-professional motorcycle racer. Yeah.
That's
so
right.
he took a very bad injury, or a couple of them. I think he broke his back at a young age, and snooker, and then he played in the World 9-ball in Cardiff 2 or 3 times.
Well, after all of the good work in the previous rack, Phung gives the momentum back by scratching on his brake.
Now a lot of thinking to do before he takes on the first shot. The 4-9 is going to be a little funny, I think, once it's replaced. It does look like it has a couple pockets. He's checking the 4, it does go, and he's looking to see what kind of angle he wants to get on that for the 5. But I'll tell you, the way the 5 is, I mean, it's hard to get real good on the 4 to improve anything past banking the 5, and that's what he's looking at now, which I think is going to end up being the smart shot here in just a few innings. So it'll come 1 rail, I think, or he's going to come 2 rails, okay. So I want to land in the center. He'll gain a bit of an angle, but fairly mild. Doesn't want too much. And now he's got to play that kill stroke a little bit, but he wants to fall fairly heavy. And that way, if he gets good to where he can roll forward and play the 5 where he's playing the 3 now, that's fine. But if he falls straight on the pink 4, he can just settle for the bank, cross side, and then hold position on the 6. Now this is going to run a bit. So now he can go into the purple, maybe into the rail, and then bump the purple. Now you'll notice just taking a hair more time here. I think that last run out by his opponent. It's just not alarming, but just something to pay attention to. He doesn't want to give up anything easy. Venue's starting to cool off now, it seems. Table's actually playing their best right now, I would think. I know there was a few brothers, but can't recall 3 brothers in professional pool, anyways, that played at this caliber like the Coes. I know there was the snooker, the ones from a long time ago, and of course I jinxed him as soon as I bring something up like that.
Yeah, I think that was missed because of the side he was imparting, but even so, at his level, that kind of high tariff shot is normally knocked in with aplomb.
As the opponent took on a bank in the last game, made a nice run out behind it. I think he takes on the bank here, trying to draw the cue ball. And the 6 is going to get near that pocket of the table. Figured he had a bit of a chance of a backdoor safety. It's not going to work out. Hard to get the line to come between the 7-8 here. Not saying it's not possible, but very hard to hit that number. So he's going to go ahead and try and get the speed right. And I thought he did a great job, but it's going to settle behind the 8. I thought it was going to be plenty of speed. Now look at this. What is this, 1.5 inches space between the cue ball and the object ball, and he's going for the jump cue. Wow. The only other real option, of course, you could kick at this, but a lot of players would try to tie the 7-8 up right here. Surrender ball in hand, trying to just get it into a better position, even though you probably are going to be snookered. Just a little wrist action right at impact. Wow, great shot.
At close quarters, at extremely close quarters, that was class.
Yeah, and you know, I know a lot of people that have fun with a shot like that, players that practice it, but still to pull the trigger on it in a match. There's other words for it, but let's just say that takes a lot of heart.
5-1 then. The overwhelming favourite to win the match is doing pretty well. Now, I've told you that in the next round, loses round 3, Chung, if he comes through this, will play Maud Kusiari or Win Duc Di. Well, I can tell you, it's 1 each there. The first couple of racks between the fellow from Brunei and the Vietnamese have been shared. Marvin Assis, good player from the Philippines. Well, you don't need to say a good player from the Philippines, because they all are. But he leads 3-0 against the UK's Simon Matthews. Max Eberle in early trouble against Huang Tian Man. 2-0 down. There's Emily Fraser, our boss, who's the Matchroom Supremo, head of the World Nineball Tour. She's doing a wonderful job, really is, expanding the tour all over the place. We're led to believe there's going to be some wonderful announcements for new tournaments, and yeah, everything in the garden is rosy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I just, you know, I'm another one of those people that she's got to deal with. I just can't, and not in a bad way or anything, but she's just, it's amazing the spirit she keeps with so much going on. And you know, difference in a lot of tours between somebody like the boss, right? As she is always there for the players, wanting to make sure everything's as good as it can be in that regard. The tables, you know.
And she wants your input, that's the thing. If you
absolutely
have got a good idea, or you think you've got a good idea, she's always approachable and accessible.
Yeah, and you know, I don't mean to be harsh in this way, but some tournament promoters are, you know, as long as the financial things are okay, they kind of forget about a lot of other things, and that's not even close to the case here. She really tries to cover all bases, and if you ever get here and see the staff that's put on, that assembles this, and how big the staff is, you can tell that it worked very, very hard.
Yeah, the likes of Phoebe Millen, Dennis, Roland. In the media department, you've got Adam, who's doing a sterling job, a relative new recruit, Adam Clapham, and Jake Aspie, who's been around for a while now, and he's an absolute wizard with the social media and getting out content.
Yeah, they're just, and there's many more beyond that. Really surprised he rolled out here. I thought he could have kicked behind the one, knocking it down below the 8. I thought he could have come off the left side of the one, come some 2-3 rails behind the 8. I think he's going for the bank. I don't blame him. Gonna need a little help here.
The help not forthcoming. The 1 is on, the 2 is open, so is the 3. He's hungry to pot balls, is Phung Chung. We mentioned this earlier on, but if you weren't listening, in that 11-0 win over Aloysius Yap in the semi-final of the US Open, he potted 99 balls to Yap's 0.
I'll tell you that the US Open, the conditions are always going to be difficult, of course. There is no tougher fields, it seems. And that other man that he finished second a couple years ago and now got to the semis this year, Yap will be back. And I truly believe he'll definitely, or I truly believe he will win a US Open. He's the type of mentality to do so.
Yeah,
Definitely has the game.
At this level, it would be easier for Yap to accept that kind of defeat where he had very little chance. I think Coe's responsible for at least 7 break-in run-outs. It'd be easier to accept that kind of defeat than had he lost 11-10, missing a chance at Hill Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, a couple years ago when he got second, he had a lead, but really didn't do much wrong when Carlo Beato just, you know, kind of took it away. And, you know, Yap, he's just got, like I said, the right kind of personality and demeanor to recover, to process what happened, whatever it may be, whatever he feels it may have been. And he's certainly got the game.
Well, we don't know what that was, but it was a clear path to the pocket. 4 past the 8, you can see there, and yet the 4 caught a lot of the black ball.
Yeah, he kind of pulled the trigger when he was down on it a little quicker than he normally does, and that's one thing about the Coe brothers. If you ever watch any of their videos, they really express, or they had a few from a time ago that expressed really kind of sticking to the same kind of routine before that last stroke. I think he missed one of his pre-strokes, a little light on the pause. Okay, we're going to have to see some spin on this one, whether it be inside 3 rails around the 9. I kind of like just 1 rail with a lot of left English, trying to bleed the cue ball somewhat straight in on the 6. This guy here has got some game now. Now, plenty of angle. Moving the cue ball should be easy. Main thing, stay off the rail with the cue ball as you come across off the 6.
Not being wiped away, is he?
No, he's just kind of sticking to what he does. Tell you what, most of his decisions I've liked, I tell you.
A ball missed by Phung Chung. Suitable punishment meted out. That was a popular win for Phung Van Quy. Now trailing 5-2, but acquitting himself reasonably well. There's a really tough match going on table 2 between a couple of players who wouldn't have expected to play each other so early. Nick Malai and João Grillo of Portugal. Malai beaten by Gary Wilson, sent to the 1 loss side. Well, he's bouncing back He leads Griot 4-0. The majority of the matches in this round, by the way, Jeremy, are played right now, but the round is completed tomorrow morning. The likes of Mika Immonen and Chris Melling will be involved first up.
Yeah, well, there's going to be some matchups in this round, and then as you advance in that one-loss side, we're going to see even more, you know, kind of mouth-watering matchups. And the reason why is because somebody's going to go home early. Happens every event. I thought he hit those a little better than really how the rack opened. Gonna give up a shot, and a good one to Ko-Ping Chung.
So the way it works, tomorrow is day 3. We have the completion of losers round 2, the start of losers round 3, and then maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours into the day, the blockbuster winners qualification round gets underway, and then it's win or bust.
Losers qualification, yeah, which is usually a pretty blockbuster round also, not quite, you know, like the winners qualification, but still really, really fun to sweat. Cue ball's got to go a long ways here, just get some kind of thin cut on the 2. Now cue ball's going to rest near the rail also. He's got to think this one over. I don't know if he can get around the purple. If he can avoid the purple, he could cut at this and go 3 rails, but this doesn't look very playable to me. I wonder if he has to elevate the cue here to play the safety. Yeah, that's what looks worrisome, trying to come off the right side. May take a stab at this, banking it cross corner and elevating the cue, trying to draw down table. This ball's gotten in a very ugly spot. Can't quite push through and bank the 2 across. And you can tell he doesn't like it. Oh, he could push through. Definitely the shot. He's going to leave maybe a piece of it. Definitely a gap for an easy kick. To ask you this before, I think I may have one time. You ever thrown the hard ball, the baseball?
I've held one in my hand and I realise how very, very hard it is. And I've been in a batting cage and had the massive courage to set the pitching machine at 40 miles an hour, and that was enough for me.
Okay. Well, I'm going to surprise you one day. I'm going to bring a couple gloves and a couple balls, and we're going to have to throw the baseball. I'll send it easy at you. Don't worry, Phil.
The prospect of facing a Randy Johnson 100 mile an hour. Oh no. I'd be doing what John Krug did that time in the All-Star game.
That was awesome.
Yeah, just
he was sitting on his butt before the pitch was even out of Randy's hand.
I think it's called shouldering arms.
Yeah. I remember that like yesterday. I think it was Randy Johnson that they caught that bird, I think, with the pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. What are the chances of that?
Yeah.
Years gone by, Dave Winfield of the New York Yankees actually killed a bird while they were playing the Toronto Blue Jays, but it was purely by accident.
Yeah.
And that created a big story.
Wow, great shot there. That's a hard one. And Dave Winfield is arguably one of the greatest athletes that's ever lived. 3-sport athlete, played incredible.
Well, one of the outstanding candidates for greatest athlete was Jim Thorpe.
Oh, absolutely.
The Olympian, the American footballer who also played for the Cleveland Indians in baseball. He was something else.
That was the early 1900s, though, so that was. But I mean, we actually got to see Winfield in action. And I'll tell you another one that's overlooked is Frank Thomas. He was an incredible 2-sport athlete, along with baseball. course, the ones we all know, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders.
Saw him play, Bo. Baseball.
Yeah.
It's a ground rule double at Anaheim Stadium. That was something to behold.
Never lifted a weight, you know. He had a weight machine in his house just to satisfy recruits when they came in, but he was all calisthenics and running.
So the question is, does Bo know pool?
Yeah, he probably does. I think that might have been on one of the commercials, really. But back to it, 5-2, a little closer. Ho Ping Chung wanting to get this done. Felt a little funny, so I don't know if he can drag the ball and go forward, or if he has to draw across, maybe bump to 6. Okay, he can drag it and go forward, but yeah, tell you.
It's not flawless. A few holes appearing in his game.
Well, you know, he's been playing a little quick, right? And then he took a little more time, didn't like it, you know, so maybe just, ooh, caught both jaws there. That one's going to hurt. I was going to say maybe just not a consistent rhythm, got him on that shot.
Yeah, Phung there being reminded that while you need accuracy on all pockets on these tables, particularly to the center, they are unrelentingly difficult.
Yeah, you have no rail to run the ball in, and it seems like the side pocket just kind of knows when the stroke isn't as good as it should be and really taxes you. Nice bank there.
He knows a lot about banking at the moment. He's just put $50,000 US in the bank. Thinking though, you know, I mentioned the fact he won the Sharks International Nineball Open. Who did he beat in the final in that one? Michael Feliciano, who got to the final of the Perry Open here on Monday. He's a coming force.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's not one of the young ones either. He's in his early 40s, around 40, and you know, just so many great Filipino players, and they can't send them all the time, but Feliciano really impressed me, and what I liked was his attitude. He got on with it. He made some mistakes that semifinal at the Perry Open, and he forgot about it quickly and played beautifully. Didn't have the final he wanted, but of course he was facing a buzzsaw in Feder Gorst. One thing is, of course, I know the Spanish heritage and stuff, and the Spanish involvement in the Philippines throughout centuries, and where some of the names come from, but Feliciano, and especially the spelling to me, seemed more Italian feel. Maybe you can explain that. But
Well, wasn't the gentleman who sang "If I've Got a Hammer" Jose Feliciano? Well, no, he was the guitarist Jose Feliciano.
yeah, is that a Spanish name then? I guess.
I think it is Spanish. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, they told me it was, but just it almost sounded more Italian to me.
Okay then, so despite a mistake there, Ho Ping Chung wins the rack anyway. 6-2 ahead, and just a reminder, in these loser round matches, it is first to 8, apart from losers qualification when it goes back up to 9. Now, we talked about Rafael Debreo, originally from New York City, now based in Japan. He had a very heavy defeat in his previous match, but he's bouncing back nicely. 5-2 up on No Zuan Trong. Elliot Sanderson also leading 5-4 against Jundal Mazon. Win No Tai. He's on the hill against Victor Zeng at 7-1. All of the other matches in this round that are currently taking place, they're quite tight, with 2 exceptions. The one we're looking at, and Marvin Assis of the Philippines on the verge of a whitewash of Simon Matthews. Assis leads 7-0.
kiss on the cue ball. Maybe a kiss shot on the 9. Not sure if the 6 is in the way. It's the type of kiss shot he may be able to play somewhat of a safe, banking the 2 back up table. So of course Chung will recognize that, but he's not going to play any loose shot, anything he normally wouldn't play. Don't believe so anyways. And the 2 plays, so I guess he's got to go for the 2. And again, this is where he's really improved to me, is that long ball. And I'll learn to quit jinxing the players before they take them tough shots on.
Yeah, just about that derivation of the name Feliciano. Jose Feliciano was from Puerto Rico.
Well, now I'm convinced. Well, the jump cue efforts have been pretty good. Seems like he's threatened it every time. Now, as he roll up on the safety, there's a cross corner bank. He can maybe play with a light speed and have a little cover while also holding position. Hard to make it at the light speed, though. All right, looks like he's falling through and coming to the backside of the pink with the cue ball. Got the 2 where he wanted, just not the cue ball where he wanted it exactly. Probably a 2-rail kick on the bottom side. You can see this nice camera view there. Between the 3 and 5 is where he wants to send the 2. So this should have a little speed on it. Underneath is okay. Just may need to hope he gets an eclipse, and he did. Fluke it.
He didn't, and actually that was quite a strange reaction off that far jaw of the top left-hand pocket. Didn't jangle around in the jaws at all, just bounced straight back up the rail. Upon balls like that to mount any kind of fight back. This is now possibly rack on a plate.
Yeah, this is tables like these, he just doesn't give it back. That's how you win tournaments. Tough ones, you know. He's gotten out on high percentage of those as well, but the consistency of the Coe brothers, that's really what they're kind of known for. I think some of their shot making is overlooked just because they're so consistent and good with the cue ball.
So drawing ever closer to what would be Chung's first victory in the tournament. He had a walkover in the first round, then lost his second match to Bernie Regalario 9-2. So back on the horse here, it seems.
I wonder if he goes around the 8, 3 rails probably. That used the go a little bit. It's not going to be terrible. I mean, there's still plenty of angle, but you could still go another foot or so and still kind of keep the same angle or doable angle. So now just a little bit more of a missable ball. Shape shouldn't be a problem. To the hill.
Yeah, he's missed a few balls. He's been guilty of a handful of mistakes, but he's doing ample. More than enough to be in a very powerful position. One more rack needed for progress. As for Phung Van Quy, well, to pull off an amazing upset, he needs the last 6 racks. Nothing's impossible, but this is pretty close.
Yeah, BJ Ussery had a close one at 3-3 with Wen Haidong. See what other significant ones going on around here.
Yeah, on table 25, Marvin Assis completed that 8-0 whitewash of Simon Matthews. Max Eberle, 4-2 down against Vuong Tian Man. The winner of our contest will play either Mode Kusyari or Win Dugday in the next round. And right now, Mode from Brunei leading 3-2.
That's the break off we saw at the US Open with the 1 down. He's going to get I think a 2-4 combination that does play. Now, we'll see how that combination sits, but with the 8 there, if he can get at it, the 2's not going to move much. So he's going to have to, produce some kind of position. He may just be able to hit this with a high ball and come 1 rail into the 7 or towards the 7 for position. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The 2's not going to move much, so I'm surprised he didn't recognize that. Thought he had to hit it with a little high English. Probably goes for this cross corner bank though, if he doesn't have the 3 rail safety, kind of banging the 2 around the table. I may have fooked this. Difficult hit. 5's in the way of the 2 rail escape. He's elevated as well. So I tell you, I might look at the same route that 2 ball took, that 3 rails around the table. Maybe able to go to the side rail with a bunch of spin. Of course, we all are playing all ball fouls. So now the side rail's not available. So this is going to be super tough. Like I said, I think I take the 3 rail angle around the 5, the same route that the 2 is kind of banged around the table. I don't think anyone's a favorite to hit this one. I mean, if you're lefty, you can go 1 rail off the short rail at the left side of our screen, but he's a righty. I don't see this 2 rails getting it unless he's trying to hit just past the side off the 3rd rail.
No contact. In fact, going into the pocket means Phung Van Quy might well have played his last shot in the tournament. It's been a strange old day. We've seen some real slogs out there. One marathon in particular, when Jeffrey De Luna outlasted Do Tae Kien 9-8. And that's one of the reasons why, as opposed to the normal 6 matches we bring you on the stream, it's only going to be 5 today. This is our last offering.
Yeah, and sorry for that as far as the fans. Still the same amount of hours involved, but just missed out on one match. And it was a real surprise to see Dennis struggle as much as he did. That was another long one right before that match you were talking about with De Luna.
Yeah, by the way, Jeremy and I aren't being lazy. It's just that all of the matches are now on. There's no more to put on. So.
Exactly. Yeah, we have to think about tomorrow. 4 more days left in the event. And we've seen some struggles in the 2 days, but you know, to be fair, these players have been on a rough schedule. They've been globetrotting around the world, and you got to respect them for doing that. But at times, that will make it to where you can't play, or you just don't play your best pool. Watch out for the 9 on the side here. Just a little bump. And our reigning U.S. Open champion played pretty solid. Had a couple unexpected misses, but overall pretty good. And I was pretty impressed from his opponent, to be fair. I mean, I know he didn't play his absolute best, but the 2 games he got on the board, he looked pretty good to me.
Yeah, especially the run out in rack 5. All to no avail though, surely. Indeed, that's the case. The 9 ball is deposited, and so